Hello, do you hear me? Oops.
Yes, we can hear. Sorry, I had my
Great.
mic.
And sound quality is fine as well, right?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Cool.
I guess we can still wait a few, maybe.
Yes, of course. So Delia is joining us for the presentation.
Hello there.
Hello.
Wait, Delia, were you also at the? Yeah, you were at the. How was it called?
That one event
That
couple
one
weeks ago.
event with the co-op and software engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you were the special guest. Yeah, I remember.
I brought all the best stories.
Oh yeah, you did.
Did you enjoy that talk? I didn't get any
Yeah, it was
feedback,
cool.
so I don't know.
Yeah, it was nice. It was
Okay.
really, especially in small groups like that. I think it was the right way of doing things. So we also have Christina here. She's also part of the Curious team, so she's gonna help us assist here at the panel.
Great, thanks.
Hello, Christina.
So of course, I'm ready to start at any time, but I would ask or wait for your suggestion when to actually go ahead. You might still be muted, though.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I said we were going to start in 2 minutes at 5.
That's great. Fine. Okay.
So there's also, again, from McGill, Jennifer. So she's here. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me.
So I mentioned that this will be recorded, this panel will be recorded, but if you don't want it to be published afterwards, just let me know.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll try to be as public as possible with respect to the things I'm telling you about. Maybe the questions afterwards, if some of those could be excluded, then we can potentially go even more informal
of course.
there. Maybe that's a good cut.
I agree, yes. Oh, Laurence. Welcome, Laurence. No, we can't hear you, Laurence. Muted. Okay, I guess we can slowly start.
Okay.
Okay, no problem, Laurence.
So shall we just go ahead, or do you have any sort of organizational announcements in the beginning? Okay, cool.
I mean, there's nothing really strict about it. We can start with you, Professor, and then we can also introduce afterwards the other panelists.
Mm-hmm.
You can go ahead.
I mean, okay, so welcome everyone. I'm Daniel Varro, and together with Delia and Jennifer, we are here for you to present the brand new software engineering co-op program at UniCon in fall 21. As for today's agenda, we're gonna be brief with the presentation part. I'll tell you a few words about what is software engineering co-op. I'll tell you a few words about what is the software engineering curriculum at McGill. Tell you a few words about how to secure your first internships, and then most of the session will actually be dedicated to questions and answers. And as part of that, even I was a bit under informed in the sense. So when you come to McGill and when you make some inquiries, normally those inquiries end up with the core McGill team. So I am the software, the academic director of the software engineering core program. And Soraya Kalane is the industry liaison and software co-op advisor. So in most of the cases, for professional kind of contacts, you might be meeting or communicating with us. But today, we are also joined by Delia Bretan, who is, as we call the software engineering co-op student ambassador. So she is helping us promote the co-op program for high schools. She also has a very nice technical profile. So she had multiple internships herself. She is former winner of an excellence award at the McGill Physics Hackathon, and also top places at other hackathons at Concordia and UDM. And as I learned just before the session, Jennifer Chen is also with us today. Jennifer, would you mind saying a few words about yourself?
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you so much for everything and introducing the McGill co-op program. So my name is Jennifer. I'm actually not in the co-op program, but I actually study computer science at McGill University. I'm super excited to be here today. I think it'll be really interesting to get different perspectives on the differences between software engineering and computer science, which is my program. Previously, I interned at Coinbase, and for next summer, I'm most likely going to be interning at LinkedIn, and would be happy to take any questions later. And yeah, thank you for being here, everyone.
Thanks so much. Delia, how about you? Tell a few words.
I mean, I didn't quite have anything prepared, but I did participate in a lot of hackathons. And my advice to everyone here, if you're interested in software engineering or computer science, is to look out for events such as these and participate and get as much experience as you can. Yeah.
Also to mention that there's also Neel and Laurence. Oh wait, Laurence just went. Oh, he's back. Hello, Laurence. So both of you guys, welcome. So I guess
Neel,
you
Laurence,
can also,
would you mind speaking up a little bit and introducing yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I really apologize for the delay. I've tried reconnecting like 2-3 times, and every time there was a bit of an issue. So I really apologize, but now I'm here. So I'm really excited to meet everybody. Thank you so much, Curious, for having me. My name is Laurence. I'm currently a mechanical engineering student at McGill. Been in software for a few years. I've previously interned at the Expedia Group and as a software engineer, and I'm currently working on a couple of software contracts here and there. So really excited to be here.
My name is Neel. I'm sorry as well for being a little late. I also had some connectivity issues, but I'm a third-year computer engineering student at McGill. I'm really happy to be here and to answer any questions you guys may have about computer engineering or engineering at McGill in general.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll go on, and the presentation part, which is not more than like 5 or 6 slides, will primarily focus on the software engineering core program at McGill. Why? Because this is new, and you might not have heard too much about that. So what is software engineering co-op? So the general goal there is that you apply concepts and research results learned in class and various sorts of classes, and you apply this during 4 different paid work terms at a software company. And why are we doing this? I mean, why is it beneficial for you? First, of course, it improves your teamwork capabilities and your leadership. You also gain like various and very diverse work experience at those companies. It helps you also discover which career would fit you best in the long run. And I should also mention that it's a very important part to build your professional network. So basically, at McGill, software engineering co-ops are 12 to 16 weeks of work. It's a full-time job, and it's a paid work experience where you are expected to work in software engineering related jobs. The software engineering curricula itself is kind of separated between for students who are Quebec students and coming from Cégep, and those who are coming from other provinces. But nevertheless, the difference is actually quite minor, because even if you didn't go to Cégep, but you have transfer credits, practically in most of the cases you start at year one. And basically in the summer of year one and year two, you go to your first and second work terms. And sometimes during year three, you go on 2 additional work terms. And together, these 4 work terms of yours and the altogether 9 or 11 study semesters constitutes your software engineering co-op curricula. Before you're going to your first work term, we expect you that you already completed 2 of the first programming and software engineering courses. You're not totally a newcomer while you are trying to land on your first internship. And also you are expected to complete a course on communication in engineering, which helps you how to write your CV or resume, how to prepare for a tech interview, how to create your LinkedIn and GitHub profiles, and so on. So this is like the bird's eye overview of the software engineering curriculum at McGill. From a more practical sense, maybe it's better to give a few words about what to expect before you are starting, what levels you would have before starting each of your 4 co-ops. So your first co-op is like your first summer. By that time, you will be able to develop software in Java, Python languages. You will be mastering modern IDEs. You will be able to implement test cases, and you also have experience in using modern version control systems. And I think by the second one, the kinds of jobs really open up, because by that time you will be able to develop multi-tier web applications, deploying software as a service, experience in test-driven development, as well as in project planning. And if you check the requirements or the needs of many of those companies, I think these 2 cover many of those. Let's say in the final 2 co-op placements, I would say that you will be way more experienced in DevOps related aspects like automated builds, continuous integration and delivery chains, scalable automation platforms like Docker and the like, as well as more advanced software quality assurance and requirements engineering parts. And I would say, finally, you will likely be specialized in 1 or more key areas of software engineering, which is also specific, I think, to Montreal and McGill altogether. I could mention computer games, I could mention machine learning, I could mention software as a service, cyber physical systems, but there are, of course, many more. These are really just a few extracts of what to expect as specializations. And I will also mention that by the time you are your 4th co-op, it's also very likely, if you are interested, to be involved in software engineering research. I brought you some examples. And actually, these are sample projects that students did on their first 2 levels. So the left one is like a game called Corridor that was being developed in, let's say, the second programming or software engineering course. I think it was in fall 2019 project. The other 2 projects are a bit later, but still your second co-op placement. In one case, the students were developing like a sample web-based system for supporting co-op placements. In the other case, they were developing web-based and mobile applications for managing trees and maintain and managing various sort of sustainability attributes for trees in and around Montreal. So these are projects when we try to bring in like customers who are typically McGill related customers, but nevertheless external customers from a software engineering point of view. Next, of course, you could ask what companies are hiring McGill interns. I could, of course, put way more logos on this slide because practically I only added companies who are like very widely known all around Canada, but there are lots of companies who are Quebec based or Montreal based. Montreal has a very fascinating place also for startups. Recently, it has been a big center also of machine learning and artificial intelligence activities, which is very, very close to software engineering, I must say. And also, I can mention a few kinds of typical job titles that you end up when you are going on internships. Of course, software engineer is one. Full stack developers, game developers are also typical examples. DevOps engineers, quality assurance engineers, and many more. I think we can cover these topics during the Q&A session. And last but not least, I should mention as a specific characteristic of McGill is what is called SURE projects. SURE projects provide early research experience as part of a summer internship, and this can also count as one of your co-placements. And I think that this is also very valuable experience. Why to have such early experience in software engineering? I mean, what is this, first of all? So it's again 16th week of research. You go and join the lab of a McGill professor and his or her team. You explore new directions in some cutting edge research topics. You tackle challenges that maybe nobody has ever solved. And this can also be like a first step to become the next Donald Knuth or Dijkstra or Leslie Lamport or David Harrell or many of those big names in software engineering. Practically, these SURE projects can also be your first steps towards graduate studies, which graduate studies at McGill are typically or dominantly research-based. In case of a research-based master's thesis, this is like 2-year research project. At the end, it's very likely that you are submitting a paper to a top journal or top conference. For a PhD thesis, you can calculate more time for this. But nevertheless, I can tell you that many software engineering jobs these days also require graduate level experience and graduate level skills. So it's not too early to think about these things. And again, altogether, this is also one important aspect of participating at the software engineering program at McGill. And this is, let's say, the end of our 15-minute pitch for software engineering co-op program at McGill. And now, together with Delia, Jennifer, Neel, and Laurence, we are very much open to all of your questions.
Yes, thank you, Professor. So yes, there were quite a few questions in the Q&A. So I'm going to list some of them, especially for the Co-op McGill program. So the first one is from Albert. So are there any international co-op opportunities at McGill? And do students commonly land these internships?
In case of international experience, there are exchange programs, and also you can go on an international placement or international job. So it's not restricted to Canada at all. You can practically go at any part of the world. The restriction is that it has to be like a software engineering related job, but practically nothing really else. And also, it's also possible to go on like exchanges which are not co-op placements, but that's also another way that you have that to have international experience. McGill has partnerships of many European universities, also universities in Hong Kong, and quite a couple of places. But maybe the others, my fellow undergraduate students now can tell more about that as well.
Yes. So yeah, of course, anyone can intervene with their comments, of course, and we'll come
please,
back to you
yeah,
guys, all the other panelists.
Please feel
and
free
we'll
to
talk
answer the
about
questions.
especially your journey.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, there's many questions, so feel free to answer all the
I
questions
think
that you.
I'm looking at the
Yes.
question and answer section, and I think Andrew asks, does McGill software engineering offer cybersecurity courses? I was wondering, Professor Varro, if McGill has any cybersecurity options for students.
Called cybersecurity option, but there is a brand new, I think, cybersecurity course. Again, on a higher level, the courses of the computer science department and the courses of the electrical and computer engineering department are quite, available practically for all software engineering students. And most of these things are you can select from one or the other. So there are courses. I wouldn't say a complete program, though.
Okay, thank you very much. There's also another question.
I see one of the other top questions in the chat. Albert asks, "Do I need to speak French to attend McGill?" Honestly, not at all. Like I'm from Montreal, so I speak both French and English. I have a lot of friends who come from overseas who have no knowledge of French.
Sorry, Laurence. I
It's
think you're
something
cutting off.
really quickly. So by all means, yep. So you should be good.
It's always useful to learn a couple of French words and expressions, like how to say thank you and how to ask where a certain location is. But other than that, you really don't need French on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. I think Matthew asked, how does McGill work if you didn't attend CEGEP? So personally, I didn't attend CEGEP. I did the IB diploma program in high school. And I'd say the way it works is that it depends, it affects the number of credits you get coming into university. So typically if you go to CEGEP before McGill, you would skip U0 as you would already have taken those courses in CEGEP. But if you didn't do those college level courses in your high school program, it's totally okay, and you'll just have to take these U0 courses at McGill.
There's just one question I see that comes up really often is what is the difference between computer science and software engineering at McGill? I'm really tempted to answer this, but I'm actually mechanical, so I'm wondering if somebody else wants to answer it, if I can just go ahead.
Maybe if Jennifer could help us out, she's in computer science.
Yeah, sure. I'd absolutely love to. So I think that the main difference between computer science and software engineering is in terms of like the coursework that you have to take. So I was debating choosing between computer science and software engineering, and I think at the time, if there had been like a co-op program for me for software engineering, I might have been more inclined to choose that, since it just seems like such an awesome program. But when I was applying, there was no co-op yet, so I went with computer science because I think for software engineering, and you obviously correct me if I'm wrong, there's more courses on things like physics or perhaps circuits, whereas for computer science, it's pretty math heavy. And there's also fewer course requirements, which means that there's room for electives. And so I think the main difference is in terms of the courses, which, I can probably drop a link to that for, the course requirements. In terms of actual job searching, I think that if you major in computer science, there's still so many software engineering opportunities for you. So I think in terms of job hunting, like the career prospects are actually very, very similar.
as you said, it is right. There is
I think a
certain
similar analogy can be, for instance, in mechanical engineering, people compare mechanical engineering to physics. So I think I could be mistaken, but from what I understand, computer science is much more on the theoretical side, while software engineering is much more on the practical side. Yep.
100% agree with that. And I saw that someone asked me what's my favorite part about computer science. I would probably say, honestly, I really think that all the computer science professors at McGill just teach really well, and that's probably my favorite part about the program. I think that, you know, like going into a lot of my job interviews, a lot of big tech companies like Google, Microsoft, whatever, they have a lot of technical interviews, and I was just really grateful that all the coursework at McGill prepared me really well for that. And so I would just say, you know, the professors at McGill are really amazing, and that's probably one of my favorite things about the program.
Laurence, there's a question that is really specific for you here. So, what made you choose mechanical over software engineering?
I think there's a question about what is the software engineering and computer science acceptance average. Um, I'm not sure if anybody might have the numbers for that.
I believe the acceptance rate is 33%. That's what you're asking? Sorry, I tuned out for a second.
Is it the R scores or the what is the actual question here?
I actually don't think the person specified. The question was just software engineering and computer science acceptance average. So I'm guessing possibly both our score and percentage.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. It's actually quite high, I believe. You can apply
Last year,
with almost any average, but only the top grades will be accepted, and I believe it's top 33% that will be accepted.
I know that high score for the first software engineering cohort, which is starting this year or started this September, was like, I don't know, 31, 32 or so. That was the cutoff, which is, I think, quite high. It will likely drop a little bit because McGill may accept more software engineering students for the next fall. But it's reasonably competitive, I would say.
Thank you. Laurence, can you hear me? Hello? Is my microphone working? Okay, sorry, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, sorry. So Laurence, what made you choose mechanical over software engineering?
I see another question is, are most internships in Montreal? So I'm guessing for software engineering internships. From I know friends who are studying computer science and software engineering, and there's kind of like a really good mix. I think I have some friends who are interning in Montreal, and others are interning elsewhere, like Toronto, and some even in the States. I'm not sure if perhaps anybody else has also some experience with this question.
Yeah, just to add on to what Laurence just said, I think that you're not really constricted to Montreal. I think there's a lot of opportunities in software engineering and tech in Montreal, but I think that you like you can be competitive even if you're applying outside of Montreal. And yeah, I also have friends who did internships in Toronto and other parts of Canada. So your McGill is definitely recognized throughout Canada, and I'm sure that you could also apply for internships in the US if you are able to work there.
Speak a little bit about that too. So I think that yes, like if you want to work in Montreal, there's just companies in Montreal that hire McGill students, but Also, a lot of companies do hire for positions in Toronto. I'd say I that's like a pretty common place where people intern. If you're interested in the US, I think a lot of companies will actually, even if you're like a Canadian citizen like myself, they will be willing to sponsor your work visa to work in the US as well. So I really think it's like up to what you want to do. You'll have a lot of opportunities though, for sure. So I think it just depends on like where you would prefer to work, and you'll definitely find good opportunities.
How many programs can you apply to at McGill? Can you apply to multiple engineering programs at McGill at once? Correct me if I'm wrong, but from memory, I think you can apply to as many programs as you want, as long as you're willing to pay as many registration fees as you want. So I think by default, you can apply to 2 programs. So you can so you rank them first choice, second choice, and that's 1 registration, quote unquote. And I think as long as you're willing to foot the bill, to put it really bluntly, you can register as many times as you want. So you can apply. Let's say you want to apply to, let's say 3 programs, you can apply to 2, and then apply to another one separately in a different application, but that's completely allowed, if I recall correctly.
Here, I believe someone asked, can someone start in the winter and complete the degree in more time? So I'm not sure. Like, I know that generally you would apply for starting in the fall. I know for sure that you are able to do the program in more time. I'm not sure how that would work with a co-op program, like the new software co-op. But for non-co-op programs, you can definitely stay or longer than 4 years in university if necessary, depending on how many credits you do in each semester. Maybe someone can answer if you can start in the winter. I'm not sure about that.
Program in the winter? I think McGill dominantly starts the undergraduates in the fall. On graduate level, you can start either in the winter or in the fall, but I think on undergraduate level, I think everyone starts in the fall. But I may have outdated information on that. I have never seen someone who started in the winter, but yeah.
If McGill, oh, sorry.
No,
Someone
sorry.
asked if McGill
Just
admissions take IB into account. I think that they definitely do recognize the IB, because I personally did the IB. And if you look at the registration or the website with like the different course options, you can actually select IB requirements, and they will tell you the cutoff for each program or department. I believe for software and computer engineering, it's about a 40 predicted. But yeah, you can definitely apply from coming from different high school programs.
Yeah, I also did IB. And I think that the main thing about IB is that the requirements for admission are a little bit different. So instead of taking your average, like Neel said, I think you just have to look at your IB score. And I also saw a question, I think, about missing the requirements for the CS program in terms of the sciences. So I'm not too sure if you can still apply for the science program, but I know that McGill also offers a major in computer science through the Faculty of Arts as well, which I want to say does not have the science requirement. So I would recommend looking into that as well.
I think Albert asks, you mentioned that international co-ops have to be software engineering related. Does product management still fall into this category?
Yes, so any co-ops need to be software engineering related. So it's, but it's software engineering in a very broad sense. So I mean, if you are developing software at a I don't know, a biotech company, this is still would likely qualify for software engineering. Product management depends, of course, on the product itself. So, I mean, I guess maybe the manufacturing of, I don't know, non-electronic products would likely not qualify, but anything that is more closer related to software, that's likely. We do a check. So before you actually start your co-op placement, we briefly review and discuss the actual offers that students have to ensure that their offers are really bringing them forward. And that's the main point, that each and every time we expect that by the time the students come back from a co-op placement, they are better software engineers than the time they went off. That's the general idea.
It's also worth it to check in with your an advisor over these kinds of questions. They would
Speaking of
be
which,
best placed.
Go ahead. Sorry about
that.
I have a question related to this. So since I'm a first
I think
year
somebody
in
else
software
asks
engineering,
about winter admissions. In my case, I'll
Laurence?
be finishing CEGEP in December 2022, and I'm wondering if you can take courses in winter that you would usually take on reduced to future course load. So I guess the question is, can you start in a winter semester and take courses before actually starting fall admission?
I believe getting in touch with an advisor would be best for in your case, since it's very, very specific.
Even I wouldn't have a guess. Yeah.
Yeah. It's usually a safer bet.
I do have friends in my program who transferred from let's say, for instance, from Faculty of Arts into engineering for mechanical. I believe in their case, they spoke to an academic advisor, so there might be a way to transfer courses, but I guess the best thing would be really to reach out to McGill itself. But I think such cases have been done in the past, though it really has to be done in close contact with the school.
So before I was cut off by Laurence, I had a question. So I said I was a first year in software engineering as well at McGill, and I had a question related to whether a job is considered, a part of.
There's a question that's been
internship.
stuck in the
Laurence,
Q&A
stop
for a
cutting me
while.
off.
I guess this is directed towards me. What made you choose mechanical engineering over software engineering? Oh boy, I'm gonna have to choose my words very carefully because this call is filled with software engineering people. So I discovered coding when I was in high school, and I really fell in love with it. But as I moved on to university, I really wanted to learn more how to to build machines. So I chose mechanical engineering. But I think really in the end, it's really finding like what really works best for you. And honestly, I have a lot of friends who are in software engineering and who are absolutely loving it. And I would love to be in software eng. Just I'm stuck building motors while everybody else is working at some top tier software engineering company. So it's really up to you. I think software engineers make more on average than mechanical engineers, if that's a factor in deciding. But really, for me, the reason why I chose mechanical was I wanted to really build machines and build concrete objects. So that's my case.
Okay, guys, so quick before Laurence cuts me off again. So related
Not
to
poke anybody too much, but yeah, that's what happens when you invite a mechanical engineering student in a in a software conference.
Yeah, that what happens. Okay, so related to the internship, the software developer and software engineer, are they the same thing, software developer and software engineer? And can I take both of them for an internship?
I'm so sorry. Actually,
You probably
I'm so
muted
sorry.
by
Actually, I
accident.
can't hear what you're saying. I didn't realize you were speaking the entire time. I'm just really sorry about that.
Sure. Okay, it's fine. So yeah.
Yeah, there seemed to have a delay of multiple seconds on Laurence's side.
I'll be
Yes,
blaming the
costs, I
McGill
think so.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
software
yeah,
developer. Yeah, to cut it short, yes, software developer, software engineer, basically all of them, they categorize as software engineering jobs. Actually, very typical software engineering jobs, I would say, in that respect. Yes, for sure.
Okay, thank you very much. How can one contact an admission advisor? I think that most people here can answer that sort of question. So I'm not sure though if every engineering type has an admission advisor. That I'm not sure. So
Honestly, the team that we have that is present today, and also the core co-op team, we are in contact with students after they are admitted. So our context starts from this point on. So I might need to pass this question to Delia, Jennifer, Neel, or Laurence if they know more about the admission advisors.
Yeah, I can speak to that. So, when I was applying to university in 2019, I had some questions specific to my circumstances, which I wanted to speak to an advisor about. And essentially, I think that if you go on the general page for your program, so say you're interested in the software engineering co-op, you just go to the page and you're going to be able to see some general faculty advisors as well as their contact emails. So if you have specific questions about your particular circumstance or how your credits would work, for example, I would say just send them an email, and that's probably the easiest way to reach out to them.
They will be very happy to reply to you, so don't be shy. Also, when you're a McGill student, you could just show up to their front desk, and they will help you in most cases. That was pre-COVID, but I'm pretty sure they still do it post-COVID as well. Although for more complicated scenarios, more than you just have one question with a quick reply, you might have to take an appointment and schedule an appointment.
Because I just realized that my internet was so bad that I think for both Curious and Delia, I didn't hear your audio for the last 30 minutes. So if I cut you off multiple times while realizing, I am so sorry. I mean, I just didn't realize how many times I might have cut you off because nothing was popping up on my side. So I do apologize for that.
you're probably not hearing me, Laurence, but there's no problem.
Oh, I can hear you now. I can hear you perfectly
Oh,
fine
you can
now.
hear me
But
now?
like
Oh,
for 5 minutes ago, everybody was laughing 5 minutes ago, and I was like, well, what's going on? So I just kept on talking, and then realized, wait a minute, like something's not right. So I just wanted power. Like, please be honest.
Just cut off for me.
Yeah, you cut off a bit.
I mean, how many times did I accidentally cut somebody off in the last half an hour? Right? I mean, I just really want.
It happened. It happened a few times. It happened.
but it's all right. It's all right. It's fine.
That's how the process
I am.
works.
It was really bad, so I hopefully didn't. It was not intentional. Just letting you know.
So we have 2 more questions. Maybe some will appear afterwards. We also have other questions in the bank. So how many co-op placements are you allowed to get? Are you required to get X amount of co-ops, or is it up to you? What is the length of the overall program then?
Yeah, I can take that one. So basically, 4 co-op programs is, or 4 co-op placements is part of the program. This is practically the minimum number of placements, and afterwards you can still go on internships if you want, but they won't count as co-ops. So you can get them on your transcript, but it will no longer count as co-op. So actually this is like 4 altogether. And if everything goes well, then the total program, the total length of the program is like 4 years plus year 0. That's maybe the most precise way. Many of the cases, it's not, it's in between the two.
And I guess also if you, for example, you're not able to get a internship opportunity for, let's say, a summer, you have to do it during another term. Is that correct?
Typically, yes. Again, with respect to internships, you would likely get a permission. So I mean, if you are applying for an internship or going on an internship which is out of the schedule or the recommended schedule that I was showing to you, you may get approval for this. So it's not on the internship part where you have like the bottleneck, but there are not that many courses offered in the summer. So you can just swap 2 semesters because in most of the cases you wouldn't find a course to take for the summer. That's, I think, more the kind of critical point here, the number of courses offered in the summer.
Skipping a term sorry.
No, go ahead. That's it.
Skipping a term like that could potentially be dangerous water, but you don't need to worry, because if you don't find a internship at a company, you could always apply for research, and there you will learn a substantial amount. And companies really do look for your experience, so make sure you have little projects on the side you can show off, like a tic-tac-toe or hangman, or you participate in hackathons and you're comfortable talking about it. Or sometimes in your courses, you would have larger projects. Like I know Professor Varro had a course where we had to build a King Domino application, or we could play the game King Domino, and you could present that at your interviews. So it's not, McGill does not let you run in the field without any preparation. They will give you the tools and they will help you out. So you don't have to worry.
So there's 2 related questions here. So are there any clubs you're part of at McGill? Which are your favorite ones? And in general, how is campus life at McGill? So that would be really interesting to hear.
I can speak about that. So I'm currently part of MechHacks, which is the student organization at McGill that organizes the McGill annual hackathon. And that's like, probably like my favorite computer science / software engineering related club, because like not only is it like on my resume and it like teaches me a lot of useful industry skills, but I think it's just really great for making friends and meeting more people who are in computer science or software engineering. So I definitely recommend MechHacks. I think it's a really, really great club. Oh, I can also speak about campus life, because I'm just seeing that question now. Yeah. McGill's like has a great campus life. I think there's like a lot going on. Montreal's like a very, very vibrant city, so there's always a lot going on. I think for people of honestly like all types of interest, there's always like things that you'll be able to find that you'll enjoy doing. And not only are there computer science clubs that range from anything related to like game development to competitive programming to blockchain, but there's clubs in basically all the other faculties that you can get involved in, even if you're not majoring in that. So I'm like part of the McGill Chinese Student Society, for example, and there's a lot of similar clubs like that I think just make campus life really, really fun.
I can take it from here if no one minds. I was part of McGill Society before COVID hit, where a bunch of people would get together. We would drink tea and eat snacks, and we would study together. And it was a great place to meet new people and make new friends. And if someone had the same course as you, you could make a little study session with them. It was just really fun. Also, I was part of McGill ballroom. So every Friday we would go up to the gym and we would learn how to dance the cha-cha, the samba at one point, the rumba. It was really loads of fun. So anything you can think of, probably there's a club for it and people with same interests. So don't be afraid to just meet new people.
Neel,
Also jump in. Oh, sorry, Professor.
Laurence,
Go ahead.
Neel. Yeah. No. I was asking you, Laurence, and Neel to actually share your experience, because I think this question is for you as students.
So I could go ahead, but just to make sure, is anybody speaking right now? Perfect. So I'm actually, just like Jennifer, I'm actually also part of MechEng. So I just joined a couple of weeks ago. I'm also on the rocket team. So there's actually a big sub team in the rocket team that's working on the software. So they're building both the avionics system and the software to control like the rocket launch. So if you're into rocketry and launching stuff into space, well, not space, but like really high in the air, you can definitely join that.
Just to speak from my personal experience, I agree a lot with what Jennifer and Delia said. There's basically clubs which speak to like whatever interests you may have. So if you're trying to do something non-related to software or your degree in your free time, then there's a club for you, no matter what your interests may be. And I think it's a great way to meet new people and make friends with people who have similar interests as you. Personally, I'm a bit interested in entrepreneurship, and if that's something that you're interested in, McGill has a great program through their innovation center, and essentially you can apply to get grants to work on whatever personal projects you may want to do as a startup. So I think McGill has like a very well-rounded like possible clubs for you, or not even just clubs, even like basically whatever you want to do. I think it's possible through McGill, even if you want to work in a lab or do something on your own, like a project. I think that McGill has the right like support that you can find.
Even I can add something, because I was joining the McGill choir from time to time.
Really, Professor?
Yeah, I'm
any
not
chance
joking.
any chance we'll see you there next choir assembly?
I don't know. I mean, for the moment, it's more online, so not at that point. But I joined them like for 3 or 4 semesters at some point consecutively. I mean,
Also, I do want to stress this: the difference between university and high school or CGIP is that you are no longer a homework machine or an assignment machine. You don't need to push yourself and to study 24/7. You can take a lighter course load as long as you balance everything else. So be careful. But you can take a lighter course load, like on the edge of being full-time student, and see what McGill has to offer. Go to clubs, meet new people. You're no longer a machine. It's no longer about getting good grades. It's about gaining experience and living your life, because I think we've all earned that.
I believe someone asked what year zero is. So on a different note, year zero is basically what the first year of university, where you would do like fundamental courses. So if you're in software or computer engineering, you would have a lot of basic math courses like calculus 1, calculus 2, linear algebra, and other mandatory like course requirements. But I think that if you have transfer credits, so say you did the IB diploma, then you might be able to skip on some of these courses as you would have already taken the equivalent in high school. Or I think, as I was saying earlier, if you go to CGEP, you generally would be skipping year zero and you'd be going directly into year one and taking more specialized courses for your major.
Curious to know, did any of you take year 1 or year 0, sorry? Or did you all do CGEP and directly go into U1?
Personally did. Oh, sorry, sorry,
No,
Jennifer.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I personally did year zero. I did get credits for some courses or some physics and math courses through the IB, but some courses I still had to do as I hadn't really covered them before.
For me, like actually very, very similar to Neel. I did an IB in high school, but basically IB courses I took were really related to computer science. So I did all like the regular U0 math courses such as linear algebra 1 and like calculus 1 and calculus 2 and all of those. So basically I'm like still graduating like 4 years and basically I did U0 and I don't think like you ever have to feel like, oh, like I'm ever like at a disadvantage because I didn't do like all of these advanced math courses in high school or anything, because I think most people honestly haven't. And yeah, I think like U0 is just the same as like first year university at any other school. So yeah, I think U0 was great.
I also went through the through CJEPs directly into year one because I believe universities in Quebec count start counting from where CJEP finishes. That's like a little Quebec quirk. But if you're an international student, you would normally go into U0, so no worries about that. International here being outside of Quebec because Quebec is special.
So I think one really interesting question would be to hear about your general experience with the general internships that you take, and what was your most your best experience until now? What did you appreciate from your internships?
I could start with that one if no one minds. When I went into my first internship, I kid you not, I did not know anything. And that's okay because they did not expect me to know a lot since I only had the first year. I was faced with a new programming language I never touched. At school, we did Java, but my internship was in C#. And basically, I had to learn everything on the go. But my team was very patient, and my team lead was helping me out a lot. So everything went smoothly. So if you are faced with your first internship and in the first hour you don't understand everything, don't worry. Don't worry about that. None of us do. And that's okay.
Is anybody talking right now? Don't want to make the same mistake twice. So a couple of years ago, I wouldn't say it's an internship, but I found a software job at a startup, and I think honestly really similar to Delia. They were using some really weird languages and tools. They're using Elixir. Much if anybody has heard of it. Elixir was based on some really esoteric, mysterious language. So it was a really steep learning curve. But honestly, usually when applying to work, the team is super supportive. So even if there is a tech stack that you've never used before, from like an honest, the weirder the more weird the tech stack is, the more supportive teams are. So honestly, don't be afraid to apply to jobs, positions that use things that you can't pronounce or that you've never heard of, because everybody is super welcoming.
So yeah, you mentioned that you had the opportunity like this before, and you use different tools, different kind of tools, maybe unfamiliar tools. And the kind of when you do these kinds of internships, do you have a particular project that they assign you, or did you work on a project that you remember having a special connection with?
I would say that depends on where you are internshipping. So On my second internship, I was assigned, and I learned a lot, because that's the point of an internship. You have to learn. I don't quite remember your second question though. Sorry.
In general, did you enjoy the project? Did you decide the project, or did you have it assigned to you? Like as part of a bigger team, you had like one specific role in that big project?
My first internship, I had one specific role on a bigger project, and I was essentially working with my team members. But for my second internship, I was on a different project apart from my team members. There was still communication in between them, but I was left to do I was left to complete the project basically on my own. That was pretty cool because I was able to manage my own time.
Speak a little bit more about like my previous project at the company I worked at last summer as well. And I think that a lot of software engineering internships, you'll be given some sort of project that you'll have some degree of autonomy over. And I think that's like pretty cool. So basically last summer, I worked on a search and filter feature for the card transactions for the debit card that the company was had just launched pretty recently. And I think that's something that's like pretty common amongst different tech companies, is to, you know, give the interns a pretty significant project that they'll be able to not independently work on, because you'll receive a lot of support from your team for sure, but be able to make some decisions yourself for. In terms of school and social and work balance, definitely McGill is a very academically rigorous school, and when you're coming in, you have to be 100% prepared for that. Like, the courses are not going to be easy. I have honestly not really had any courses that are like easy A's or anything like that. So I think you do have to like prepare yourself for that. But I still think that there's just so much like going on in Montreal, and so many amazing clubs and extracurriculars, that it's really easy for you to be able to find a lot of good social experiences as well. I think that, you know, compared to some of my friends at other schools, the work life, like, or not like work life balance, but like the school and social life balance is really, really great, honestly, just because of how many great social experiences Montreal offers. And that's something I really like about McGill as well. So I personally think that the balance is very, very achievable as long as you time manage. It's not as bad as like some other universities, but McGill is a very academically rigorous.
To add on to that, I think like maintaining a good balance between your social life and your school and your academics is definitely possible. But I think, as Jennifer was saying, like it's very, very rigorous at the same time. So I think that if you stay on top of your work, you don't skip lectures, you do your assignments early, then that will free up some time to spend with friends, to go out or do whatever else you may like to do outside of school. But also, I agree, like Montreal is like a great city for young people and for students in particular, and it's very affordable to go out to restaurants and maybe go up Mount Royal, or there's plenty of activities for everyone, I'd say. But you just need to make sure that you're on top of your schoolwork, and then use your free time to socialize and do other things.
For me, let's be honest, McGill is a challenge. I mean, if I didn't expect a challenge, why am I even in software engineering, right? So just be careful with that. The beginning of the semester, everything is calm, everything is cool. And then the midterms hit. And then you realize just how much everything got real all of a sudden. Just don't forget to get 8 hours of sleep, hydrate, don't dehydrate. And and if you need help, if you feel like you can't bear it anymore, if you're anxious all the time, seek help, because people on campus will help you. Talk to your professors, talk to your friends, take care of yourself.
Yeah,
Okay.
from a
So,
professor's point of view, just to add one touch on this question, if you compare the knowledge that you had for a certain topic when you started a particular course in a semester, and when you compare your knowledge in that particular topic at the end of the semester, in many cases, the jumps are quite significant. So, I mean, there is lots of gains that you get about the academic workload. If I also take some of my own examples with with undergraduate students having early research experience in summer projects, we, in some of the cases, we ended up with joint papers at leading conferences. This is again a different kind of experience, but at the end of the day, I mean, you learn the most from what you invest the most in.
Professor, thank you, Delia. So it's almost time to wrap up, unfortunately, but we're still going to take a last question. So I think this really relates to the one that we just talked about. So are there any programs that have a course system where students can have classes together and travel together, or even study together?
Don't know about a cohort system. I haven't heard of anything like that before, but I know one thing that McGill does have is they have special first year classes that are only 30 people or less. So these are only available to first year students. And I think that is like kind of a thing where, you know, it's a much smaller group. So I think that's something that is available.
I think also in general, after your first year, you will have already met a bunch of students who are in the same program and kind of on the same path as you. And I think that it's very easy to coordinate your courses with these people because, say, you're in software engineering and you have a friend in software engineering, it's very easy to take the similar courses and to basically be with this person throughout your degree in terms of academics and classes. So if you're looking for people who you're going to know throughout the 4 years, I think that that's definitely possible through meeting people in your program and in your major.
Also, there are a lot of group projects, so you're gonna learn. You're gonna meet a lot of people there. Either you love them or you hate them. You learn how to at least work with them, so that's good.
Okay, thank. So yeah, like I said, this will probably be the last question. We answered quite a lot of questions, more than what I expected initially, so that's really nice. So yeah, I really want to thank you all for being here, all the panelists, all the students, all the people that might be at McGill soon enough. Let's hope we'll see you there. So yeah, that's about it. Do you guys want to end the panel with a final message?
To say thank you to Delia, Jennifer, Neel, and Laurence for being with us, and also being a big thank you to Curious as an organization for letting us here and talking about the Mech software engineering program. That's my final message.
Thank you very much to you as well.
I wish to say thank you as well. Plus, to all the people who are here, don't forget to take care of yourself. You're important. Everything is good. Everything will be fine. If you're stressing out about something, it's a signal that you should seek help, either from
Delia.
like a person or an organization.
Thank you.
If I could just in really quickly, hopefully nobody's speaking right now. Thanks so much, Curious, for having us. I feel like this has been an episode of Find the Mechanical Engineering Student among all the CS and software engineering kids. I mean, we can easily tell who's mechanical, who isn't, but thanks so much for having us. And once again, I really apologize for all the inconvenience of cutting off people.
No, it was fun having you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, everyone, and best of luck
Thank you, everyone.
with your application.